If you're a parent of a child with special needs, or an educator who works with kids who have developmental disorders, then you may be very familiar with the terms and abbreviations floating across the screen now. Even if you're highly informed about one or more of these conditions, more than likely you're not completely sure how to describe them accurately or what elements they share in common. One possible reason for this is that there is currently an information overload in our society, in the news, in movies, and on the internet about many of these conditions, and much of that information is either limited, contradictory, or in some cases patently false. There are over 14 million websites on learning disabilities and over 19 million sites on the topic of autism alone. Most of the treatment options that are available for people address only the symptoms of the condition, totally ignoring the underlying root causes. This means that once the medications are discontinued, the symptoms return. Drugs do not cure the condition. Many users of these drugs report short-term negative consequences, but unfortunately, many long-term negative consequences may result from them, and those consequences are unknown. Unknown by the users of those drugs, unknown by the researchers who study them and market them. And these long-term effects may not display themselves for months, sometimes even years. The information we've shared thus far may paint a bleak outlook for treating these conditions. Conventional treatment options are ineffective, and they've been used ineffectively for the last 50 years, mostly because people think of these conditions as incorrectible, permanent. No one realizes that they're actually fixable. But we're here to tell you, attention and behavioral continuum disorders are correctable. And the Brain Power program has the solution.
We know that there is a common thread to all of these disorders, which boils down to one underlying cause. Simply stated, a brain imbalance. What this means is that one side of the brain is functioning at a lower capacity than the other side of the brain. Many neuroscientists agree that these attention behavioral continuum disorders have a lot of co-occurrence with one another, meaning that many children who are diagnosed with Asperger's are also diagnosed with ADHD, or if they are diagnosed with autism, many times they're also diagnosed with bipolar disorder. The reason for this is that all of these diseases have one underlying commonality, that there is a brain imbalance. They are brain-based and associated with brain hemisphericity. Brain hemisphericity is the degree of balance between the right and left hemispheres of the brain, or the degree of communication that is occurring between the right and left hemispheres of the brain. The Brain Power program is based on one simple formula, that brain fuel plus brain activation equals brain power. Simply stated, a strong, powerful, balanced brain is a brain which is fed and stimulated appropriately. The Brain Power program has so many different dimensions, but it's about one thing ultimately, balancing the hemispheres of the brain. The problem is simple, the solutions are simple, but the treatment protocols are individualized and highly complex. Because of this, our assessment process is highly specialized. The Brain Power program is by far the most comprehensive approach available for treating these attention behavioral continuum disorders. We utilize chiropractic care, nutrition therapy, sound therapy, oxygen therapy, audiovisual entrainment therapy. There is no other place doing this. Most people, when they come to our office, we ask them what other therapies have they already tried. The list they give us usually doesn't include anything that we have here. Many times they've not even had a neurological assessment. Nevertheless, medications have been administered, therapies have been prescribed, but the underlying cause has still not been identified. that there is a brain imbalance. That's why they show up at our office, because thus far, nothing they have done has worked. Maybe the symptoms have been covered up for a little while, but the underlying cause is still there. The Brain Power program identifies the cause and eliminates the problem in a relatively short amount of time. We're not discounting other approaches, but if they're not identifying the weak hemisphere of the brain, then they're missing the boat. Another benefit of our program is that it takes place in a relaxing, healing environment. Our office is like being in someone's living room. It's not the typical clinical environment that you see in a hospital or another medical facility. It's warm, inviting, and has a comfortable atmosphere. We are also aware that our program is often the last place people look. They have already sought out more conventional approaches, and they failed. With these approaches comes a lot of turmoil and suffering. We understand that turmoil, and that's something that here we take to heart. We realize that these circumstances are real to our patients, and therefore these circumstances are real to us as well. Though we individualize our treatment protocols, we encourage our patients to leave their conditions at the door. We treat our patients as whole human beings. We like to take care of the whole person, not just the diagnosis.
Neurobehavioral and developmental disorders are now correctable, quickly, effectively, and affordably.
So if you're tired of treatment options that just don't work and you're ready for real results, then contact our office today.